Hi, welcome to Z Gadget Review. So here we are, CES 2021, and now it's Sony's turn to show us what they're bringing into the market this year. So as we know, Sony launched their next-gen console last year in November, the PS5. Now they were supposed to have TVs that will work with this next-gen console. For some reason, I don't know why, because the reason doesn't make any sense. They only had one TV that offered HDMI 2.1 features, and it didn't offer every single HDMI 2.1 feature that you will need to take advantage of everything that the PS5 can offer. This coming from a company that not only does TVs, but also a console. You will think that they will want to pair their TVs that offer everything under the sun when it comes to HDMI 2.1 to go along with that PS5. Seems that they're going to rectify that mistake with the TVs this year. So let's start with the tech behind this screen, all right? Because as we know, all these TVs work with image processors that change the way that image works on the screen when it comes to LEDs or OLEDs. So Sony this year has a brand new chip called Cognitive Processor XR. It's supposed to use cognitive intelligence versus artificial intelligence, which is what their chips used on TVs last year. How is this any better? How is this new, you say? Well, then when you hear these words on new chips and things like that, you go like, who cares? You know, because companies are so used to throwing so many buzzwords and marketing words in order to get you to buy their TV, you know, tell you why their TV is better than somebody else's TV, that these words and terms kind of lose their meaning and they kind of are like, whatever, who cares? Just sell me the TV. When I open it and look at it with my eyes, I'll decide if it's a good TV or not. It's usually how most people go about it. What Sony is saying is that their XDR cognitive processor is supposed to mimic the way our brains process images instead of how a machine will process an image. What the processor is supposed to do is supposed to focus on different parts of the screen depending on what the scene is showing you. So what they're saying is if you have, for example, a close-up of a person, the TV will immediately focus its colors and light on that person's face to make it look more natural, versus if you have a background with a scenery or neon signs or whatever might be happening behind, the image is supposed to adapt to what's on screen and do its work to make that image better. Now, obviously, we haven't seen, or I haven't seen this in person. Obviously, the TV hasn't been out for reviews or anything like that, so we can only take their words. But when I hear this, my first fear is that there might be a lot of like flickering on the screen, and not like flickering on the screen, that type of flickering, but just sudden changes of light. And especially on the LED TVs that Sony is putting these things into. Because as we know, LEDs, as I've said, if you've seen a lot of my videos, LEDs don't completely turn off when they are on a screen. They just dim to give you that black color. And so my fear is if you have a lot of things happening in the screen quickly and like flashes of light and changes, if this is supposed to focus on different parts of the screen, if you see what I'm doing with my hands, technically this is what the lights are doing, right? Like the little LEDs are just going boom, 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 boom. And obviously they're doing really, really fast, a lot faster than my hands can move. It's supposed to be imperceptible to the human eye, but as we know, a lot of these things are perceptible to a lot of people, which is why we have dirty screen effects or rainbow screen effects and all these things that a lot of people are not supposed to see. But a small amount of people see it who end up having a bad experience when it comes to this type of technologies. Of course, it's something different than what other companies are offering at this point. So we'll see how these TVs look when they go to people's hands. So going back to HDMI 2.1 technology and ports, this year, Sony will finally offer what they should have offered last year when their next-gen console was launching. And it's going to, of course, offer 4K 120Hz refresh rates. That's going to come in all their premium Bravia XR 4Ks and 8K TVs because, yes, Sony is also pushing 8K technology, and it makes sense. There's a lot of people who will buy an 8K TV because they're like, oh my god, I have an 8K TV, and pay more money, and therefore Sony will make more money on something that you don't really need. But hey, that's how companies do business. Getting back to the HDMI 2.1 features, they will also have VRR, variable refresh rates, auto low latency, and eARC. This is supposedly going to come ready out of the box. You don't have to wait for an update later on in the year, and hopefully it'll work great with your PS5. Now, the XR chip is supposed to also do something great for sound. As we know, Sony has moved to using the built-in speakers in the TV to drive sound through the screen to you, kind of like what my hand is doing right now towards the lens is the waves are supposed to hit you and bathe you in beautiful, amazing sound thanks to their new XR chip. So Sony is calling their sound a sound from picture reality. Is supposed to align the position of the sound with the images on the screen to offer a uniquely lifelike experience. So this is supposed to help with surround sound. It's supposed to be smart enough that it can do auto calibration of the sound depending on the room that you're in, so you can have 3D sound and sound that goes directly to you no matter where you're sitting in the room. So the models for the TVs are going to be the Z9J Master Series 8K Full Array LCD TV. And this is going to come in 85 inches and 75 inches. Then we're going to have the X95J, which is going to be a 4K Full Array LCD TV. This is going to come in 85, 75, and 65 inches. They will not have a 55 inch on this model. And the reason is because they believe that they don't need a 55-inch full array LCD TV 4K because they have an OLED 55-inch TV. So what they're saying is instead of competing with themselves on a 55-inch model between LCD and OLED, they're pretty much saying you might as well buy an OLED 55-inch TV from them than an LCD 55-inch TV from them. Which, you know what? Then you might as well just buy OLED on any size. Then staying with the full array LCD TVs, we have the X93J 4K, and this one is going to come in 100 inches, 75 inches, 65 inches, 55 inches, and 50 inches. If you haven't caught on based on the sizes, this is going to be the bottom of the line Sony LCD TVs that they're going to be offering this year. Now let's move into OLED TVs. So Sony this year has the Bravia A90J Master Series 4K OLED TV, and that's going to come in sizes 83 inches, 65 inches, and 55 inches. So this is where they're saying if you want a 55 inch for their Master Series, this is the one you need to get. They also have the A80J, which is just a regular 4K OLED TV. It's not a Master Series TV. And this is going to be a 77 inch, 65 inch, and 55 inch. This is also where you can go if you want a 55 inch TV on the upper tier of TVs. Of course, if you want the Master Series, which is the best of the best according to Sony in their lineup, then you know you gotta go with the 90J. The new thing for Sony OLEDs, as we know, the distributor of OLED screens is LG. It's always this thing where, why would I buy from someone else? If LG is the one who makes OLEDs, they just sell the screen to company X and then they make the OLED TV. Again, because of what's inside that TV, the chip that the TV uses to provide you the image. The screen is one part of the equation when it comes to a TV. It's not the whole story. Sony is saying that they have a new technology on their OLED TVs which will boost the brightness in bright highlights and will offer better blacks on areas that are shadow areas, instead of crushing blacks as OLEDs usually do. Again, this is something new that Sony is offering in their OLED TVs that it will be worth comparing to the other OLED TVs out there. All these TVs will include Android TV smart platform. They will also support smart speakers for Amazon and Google. Sony isn't doing anything when it comes to mini LED TVs for some reason. We know now that Samsung and LG have announced mini LED TVs. Of course, we know TCL has had mini LED TVs, but Sony is staying out of that game, and instead they are focusing their efforts into improving on what their LED TVs can offer instead of jumping into a new technology. So we'll see how that goes. Are you excited for Sony TVs? Are you a fan of Sony TVs? Have you had a good experience with Sony TVs lately? Let me know in the comment section. That's it for me. Go ahead and give me a thumbs up. It really helps the channel. Go ahead and hit that bell so you can be alerted every time we have new videos. And thank you very much for watching.